Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this amazing YouTube channel. Let me prop the camera before we get down to business. My name is Skits. Hopefully you're having a nice, beautiful, cozy, happy day. It is Monday. It's the start of a new week. And as I usually say on my live streams, new day, new me, new week, let's go. All right. And today I had two recommendations from the chat regarding a topic for a YouTube video. And one of them was talk about quantum physics. And Skits is not a quantum physicist, or I don't know that much about quantum physics, so I can't really talk much about that. And the other topic that I got suggested by my homie Convict was to talk about my favorite show. Now that could be any television show or a series like Breaking Bad, for example, or an anime like Naruto or One Piece. But I've had this idea in the back of my mind for a bit. And what I want to talk to you guys today is about YouTube, all right? And for any aspiring content creator or YouTuber out there, I think this video is going to kind of be interesting to watch, because I'm going to give you hopefully some pointers and some of my thoughts, in this that I have developed, or some things that I have, the expertise, let's say, that I have gathered being a YouTuber now for about 2 years and some change, all right? So I started making YouTube videos around 2023, more specifically on the 25th of April of 2023. So yeah, I have a little over 2 years making videos right now. And what I want to specifically talk about or center this video on is treat YouTube like a hobby and don't treat it like a job. All right, especially if you are somewhere along the lines of starting your YouTube journey out, or you are very close to getting monetized per se. I think getting monetized is pretty much the first thing as a YouTuber, or as a person who's consistently uploading videos and trying to get better at it. I think that is the first thing a person is striving to achieve. And it's very different for many of us in the sense that getting monetized really depends, or how exactly you get monetized depends on where you specifically live. So, for example, you need 500 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time, if you are in the United States, for example, right? And in Venezuela, where I am currently at, you need 1,000 subscribers, and you also need 4,000 hours of watch time in a span of 1 year, so 365 days, in order to get monetized. So what normally happens is, you are working, right? Or you are uploading content consistently with that goal in mind. And you can have two ways of treating your YouTube channel, or treating the time that it takes for you to specifically get here, all right? And I, for one, when I say treat YouTube like a hobby and not a job, well, you have a different psyche when you approach something as a hobby or as a passion project than when you approach it as a job, a full-time job, a part-time job, or something that you are relying in the future to give you sustenance, all right? This might not have a lot to do with the current topic, but I am also a beat maker. I use FL Studio to crank out beats and make music. And what a lot of established beat makers tell you, is that while you're starting out your beat making journey, you cannot expect to make any money out of this, all right? And YouTubers also say this very often. If you want to achieve, or if you want to get there, to monetization, you can't treat this like you're going to get paid or you're going to get monetized. And what that also means is that the time is very subjective or relative. And it might, 99% of the time, unless you know what you're really doing, it might take you a long time to get there. For me, for example, it's been 2 years and some change, and I still am not monetized, all right? I do meet the requirements in terms of subscribers, but I do not meet the requirements in terms of watch time. And if I use my brain, I don't think I even have half of the required 4,000 hours of watch time in order to monetize. So I might be looking at, I don't know, I've been doing YouTube for 2 years and some change. I might still be, treading on if all goes very, well. If all goes amazing, I might start getting monetized in maybe 1 year, 2 years. I don't know. And you got to do this with a lot of love, and you got to put a lot of heart into it. And you can't really coin exactly when it is that you are going to meet this, milestone, getting monetized. So to have little to no expectations, and to just do this with your heart and soul, when you pour a lot of passion into it, your mental health is going to be significantly better, all right? I, for one, have made the mistake of treating this like a full-time job or a job, and that has kind of brought a lot of negative things forward on my plate. Yeah, it's not very good to be in a negative headspace. It's not very good to harbor any negative emotions or thoughts to your YouTube channel, because if you're really going to take this seriously and this is what you want to do for the rest of your life, you better be in the right mindset, and you better have a lot of love for this, because if you don't, you're going to be incredibly miserable, and you're probably going to have to hate yourself. Now, number 2, something that I also kind of fucked up in realizing or in maintaining is you got to stick with a niche, all right? You got to talk about things. Number 1, you got to be, your YouTube channel has to center about something that you really love or something that you're really passionate about. Maybe it could be a sport, it could be football, it could be hockey, it could be soccer, it could be, rugby, it could be anime. Anime was the niche that I specifically started out with. I started doing out like anime skits and whatnot. And it is advised that you really stick through with one specific niche or topic for a while, at least while you're starting out, and for a few months, maybe even years. Because if you start segueing like I did, and I started gravitating towards a different type of content, like not even during my first year, all because I got a eye surgery. I got a LASIK eye surgery. It's when they correct your vision with like a laser. And, during my recovery time, I wasn't able to either, pump out content, and I decided to take the risk. And I think looking back, it was kind of a mistake. And I decided to start uploading music to my channel. And the people who were used to like anime and watching skits and just anime related content were like, what the fuck is going on, skits? This is not what I signed up for. This is not what I like. I'm not interested. And I lost a lot of viewers. But fortunately, I kind of kept up uploading beats for a while, and I think my music is all right. And fortunately for me, I started developing, or I started getting a lot of people who are interested in the kind of things that I make, which are, lo-fi hip-hop type beats, anime type beats, Nujabes / Samurai Champloo type beats. And yeah, even though my channel took a significant hit because I lost pretty much my primary audience, somehow I was, very fortunate to be able to coast it through. And here we are, today, what day is it? It's the 7th of July, 2025. Today, I just do whatever I want with my YouTube channel. Again, I think somebody more established or a pro or a professional YouTuber might look at my YouTube channel and say, you know, what the hell is going on here? You're pretty much making your YouTube channel about you, Skits. And that is absolutely right. Nowadays, I pretty much play games when I want to. I live stream myself making beats. I talk about certain things. And when I upload YouTube videos, I pretty much talk about whatever I want and whatever I feel like doing, you know? And for me, it's kind of worked out great in the sense that my mental health is very nice. I think I am in a very good headspace psychologically and emotionally. But yeah, like I said, maybe somebody who's, you know, a pro at this might look at my YouTube channel and say shit like, you know, this is not it, chief. And I could agree, all right? But to wrap this point up, you know, yeah, start out with a niche, do something and stick with that certain niche, that topic, and something that you're hopefully very passionate about. And grow an audience, you know, grow an audience with it and stick with it for, you know, for a while. And then I guess that when you hit a certain threshold of subscribers or viewers, you can start doing more personal content kind of things. Because at the end of the day, people are going to gravitate. I mean, people can gravitate to how well you tell a story and how good your content is. But what also happens is that people are also going to gravitate to your character or to your persona or to who you are. Now, what else? Yeah, YouTube in 2025 right now is a different game, you know, than per se how YouTube was during the corona disease times or 5 years before that. Let's say YouTube in 2015. YouTube is a very different platform today. And I think now more than ever, you have a lot of people, you know, children, teenagers, young adults, old people. You got people from all walks of life, all ages, all sizes, all everything. I think being a YouTuber is a very sought out career path. And now more than ever, YouTube and many other social media platforms, but I'm just talking about YouTube. YouTube is very overly saturated. And it's mainly because a lot of people are trying to become YouTubers, monetize, and make a living out of this. So the way that YouTube works now is very different than how it used to work, you know, before. And one piece of advice, if I have to give you, well, I'm going to assume you want to do this and you want to stick with this for a while, you have to be very, very, very consistent, and now more than ever. Talking a little bit about, like, let's say quality versus quantity, all right? Well, regarding quality, I think your videos have to be very good, right? Because now more than ever, you're competing against many more people who are probably doing videos about the same things that you want to do them. So you really have to stand out. All right. And what does standing out mean? You got to be able to be a good storyteller. You have to have interesting, you know, ways of telling that story. You have to have, you know, good editing techniques. You have to have a very solid script. You have to keep the audience engaged. And this is all pertaining to like audience retention. You have to include like tricks and maybe snaps or maybe cuts or maybe, you know, pans. There's all kinds of things that you can do in your edits to keep people engaged while your YouTube video is rolling, right? So now more than ever, I think it's very important to develop an editing style that forces the person to always be stimulated, maybe is what I'm trying to think of, or keep the person engaged so that he doesn't like feel bored or get bored while he's watching your video. So you got thousands, millions of people, you know, trying to become Mr. Beast pretty much. And yeah, you gotta stand out, you know, you have to stand out. And in regards to quantity, all right, I think now more than ever, you have to pump out videos on a very regular basis. All right. There are certain creators and there are certain niches in which, people do take their sweet time, maybe sometimes even weeks and months of, different uploading schedules. And, I think the longer that you take to upload a video from another video is kind of like a risk, all right? Unless, your audience is already kind of used to the idea or to the fact that you are publishing and uploading, monthly, maybe every 2 months or so. That's kind of cool. But I think now more than ever, being consistent and uploading as much as you can is the way to go. Yeah, for example, I also took the decision, a little side note or a little extra story here. I started live streaming on like October of November of last year. And I had no idea what this universe was or what was in store for me as a live streamer per se. And I started really enjoying to live stream, and I pretty much almost live stream every single day. All right, I'm either streaming myself doing beats, or I'm playing a video game, or I'm just talking about whatever the hell it is that I want to talk about. And during the first months of me streaming, I met this homie. He goes by the name of Mark. Hi, Mark. Sup, killer? And I don't know if it's like, I can't really coin if it's, people's anxiety or the way that you are just so used to rapidly scroll and doom scroll, and I don't know what it is. I might be segueing into something, very, very incongruent or not cohesive, but the point is, my homie Mark, literally, if I do not go a day without streaming, if I don't stream for a day, he's always asking me, yo, when is the next stream? And I don't feel like this is a behavior that only pertains to Mark. I think it pertains to a lot of people and to somebody even like me. If I take a break, if I take a day off from my YouTube channel, I start feeling, I think anxiety is what it is, and the more the hours go by without me uploading or without me live streaming, it starts becoming like a problem. It's kind of, if you are a cigarette smoker or you're addicted to nicotine, you're probably pretty familiar with the idea that the second you stop smoking that last cigarette, the second you're done with it, the more time passes, you're just going to be more drawn and more compelled. Something physical is happening in your body that is going to start craving more and more and more that next cigarette that you're about to smoke. And yeah, the more time passes between that last cigarette and the one you're going to smoke next, the more hours and hours or minutes and hours go by, the more crazy you start getting, right? And I guess anxious is perfectly the adjective that I want to coin. Yeah, I don't know if it's what social media has done to the population, to humanity as a whole, or how the information cycle has like twisted the human psyche. I don't know what it is exactly, but I know for a fact that now more than ever, people are just more anxious or more in like a crave state, and they want to be watching people consistently. And the longer you take to upload, I think the greater the risk, all right? Maybe I'm not doing it justice because I'm not explaining this point correctly, but what I do want to say at the very least is that you just got to be consistent as hell, and now more than ever in 2025. The last thing I want to talk about to wrap this video is you have to have a balance between what you're doing in YouTube versus what you're doing outside of YouTube. Because if you, let's say, if you're not spending time out of YouTube, there's going to be a moment in time where you're just going to burn out, and you are perhaps going to suffer from, there's a thing called writer's block, in which, a writer cannot find the ability or the inspiration or the words to, write something. Maybe it's an essay, a book, whatever, right? And there is a thing called YouTube block, and let's say a dry period in which you are simply very disconnected from what you want to do. You don't have any ideas. You don't have the motivation. You don't have the inspiration. And this might also kind of drag on for days, weeks, maybe even months. So if you want to do this consistently, you're going to have a routine outside of the tubes, all right? I would advise you to, hopefully you have friends and you can spend time with them. Hopefully you also have like a physical routine. You're doing exercise, or you're running, or you're actively playing a sport. That's very good. Just find things to do and have one more hobby or a bunch of hobbies that don't have anything to do with YouTube, because it's very important that you have a life outside, so that you're also kind of being pulled or gravitated again towards your YouTube side, right? So yeah, you have to have a balance. And if you do not have a balance, and if everything that you're just focusing on is YouTube, eventually you are going to burn out. And as a creator, that has to be one of the scariest periods, especially if it really drags on for a while, because what could happen, the worst case scenario, is that you lose all the passion you have for this, and you completely disassociate, disconnect, and you stop. All right. I can't tell you how many YouTubers, how many aspiring YouTubers suffer from this. And at one point it can get so overwhelming, or the burden, the weight is just so heavy, it's so strong, that you get discouraged. And as easily as you thought to yourself, I am going to be able to have what it takes to pull through mentally, physically, it can break you. And if this gets to break you, then, I guess you could say goodbye to your YouTube journey. And that would probably be the most unfortunate thing that could happen to you. So yeah, it's important to have a balance, and it's important to also disconnect from time to time from your, aspiration. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, am I missing something out? What other things do you think are important for a YouTuber to have? What kind of advice would you give a person who's trying to become a YouTuber? And yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you like this kind of video, and if you want me to talk more and more about YouTube. It's a pretty big part of my life, and I feel like at this point I can make some videos with the wisdom that I have developed over time. So yeah, this is your boy Skits. If you made it this far, you were saying you're an amazing person. Thank you so much. And yeah, just write me a comment down below letting me know if you liked it and you want to hear more of this. And if you also want me to talk about different things, yeah, just leave me a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next YouTube video or live stream. And until then, peace.